mute, just so your background noise doesn't prevent others from hearing what you or someone else, well, you have to take yourself off mute when you're speaking, just so we can hear you. And then we're also realizing that if you speak up before somebody else has finished speaking, sometimes there's an overlap. So we're asking if you could do the raising of your hand. So Carley, teach me how to do that because I haven't quite got it down yet.
Let's see here. And one last note is that I went ahead and hit the record button because we record these meetings to be able to share on the web. So I just wanted to note that there. Okay. So the raise hand feature, here, one second, let me see where it is.
I know I have reactions, but I know that's not.
But that's
well,
what
okay.
There you go.
Oh yeah, you still have our cards. We should give those to everybody.
I do. So
for now, let's just use the actual, like, just raise your hand. We'll just use that old fashioned for the time being. How about that? Sound good? Okay.
Because we want everybody to, when you have something to say, to be able to share. Good, and you can do the thumbs up. Wonderful. We will be recording our meeting so that it is available for anybody to listen to because we are a city meeting. So we have to follow those guidelines. And I think, did I forget anything? I think I covered all just the basic housekeeping issues. Wonderful. So oh, Basil, you just did something. The raise hand feature can be accessed via the participants menu. Okay, thank you. Okay. So we are going, our first agenda item is to get approval of our November minutes. So any comments, changes that anybody has to offer for that? And may I hear a motion to accept?
I so move.
Thank you. And a second, wonderful. So our November minutes have been approved and accepted. Wonderful. So now we're going to move on to our public visitors. So who is with us today? I see Ramona. Ramona, would you like to introduce yourself to us, please?
I'm Ramona Crocker, and I'm a resident of Beaverton. And I am also an active volunteer with Viva Village, which some of you may be familiar with. I think you've had some of our representatives attend prior meetings. So I won't belabor the introduction. It's a nonprofit designed for seniors to remain in their own homes for as long as they wish, with the assistance of a volunteer base. And I am a volunteer. I am also on the governing council as a volunteer with Viva Village, and I have been active with them for about 5 years. It's an organization that I really enjoy. I am in the age group as appropriate, and I really enjoy interacting with other volunteers and the members.
Wonderful, welcome. You know, before we go forward, I need a volunteer to take minutes, take notes. Anybody open for that?
I can do it.
Wonderful. Hi, Sunita. Thank you, dear.
Yeah, I can.
And Paul, I see you are a wonderful visitor.
I'm very thankful to be here. I'm an occupational therapist. Was formerly at St. Vincent for 16 years. I'm presently on call with Mark Consonis at Marquis, Piedmont, and North Portland. I've been the Productive Aging Special Interest Liaison for the OT Association of Oregon for 12 years running, and also the Associate Liaison for the Emergent Practice Special Interest. And my interests are, well, productive aging, I guess, and been doing some speaking engagements and looking for some more speaking engagements. So we all know the things we're supposed to do to be healthier. Well, we all have good intentions, and it's social supports that help, things like Viva Village and predictor of successful aging, and to help people age well, including I'm part of that population as well. And last but not least, I had COVID on April 3rd, and just to have some mild post-COVID symptoms subsequently.
Well, welcome. We're glad you're here and you have a lot to share with us and educate us. Thank you. Wow, did I forget anybody who's new? Okay, our next thing.
Yeah, I did notice that I see Lou and then John both have the hand raised, and I'm not sure if Lou still wanted that hand raised or if that was new, but then John also.
I was
Watching that
excited.
for you.
I think it was Neil or somebody showed us how to do it. So I was playing around. I didn't know how to turn it off. So I'll figure
Okay,
that
I'll
out.
lower
Sorry.
it. There you go. That's fine.
Oh,
I'll lower it.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay, we have a really packed meeting. So what we're going to do now, in case this answers a question you might have or a concern, we're now going to introduce ourselves by our name and why BCOA. What inspired us to be a part of this group? So if that, John, if that answers your raising of your hand.
No, but that's okay.
Okay.
I was going to ask Paul a question.
Okay, we'll have time for that.
Okay.
So I'm going to get us started. We'd like to offer you 2 minutes because we do have a packed meeting and we want to give everybody a wonderful opportunity. So my name is Martha McJacobs, and I have been, this is my I'm starting my 3rd year on the BCOA. And I came here because as an older parent with kids in high school, I was hanging around with a lot of moms who were 15 to 20 years younger than myself, who were talking about being over the hill. And I'm standing there thinking, what the hey? And I realized I don't want to live like that. I don't want to think like that. And I don't want to believe that. I acknowledge that with age comes change. And then I thought the political situation was driving me crazy. What can I do to get involved? And I found the BCOA. So I applied and here I am. And I love every bit of involvement that I do. So I'm glad to be here. So I'm just going to go across my board. So Lou, please feel free.
Oh, hi, everybody. Nice to see you all. My name is Louis Weisberg, and this is starting my 5th year on the committee. And I'll try to be as brief as I can. So why am I here? I worked at Intel actually for 20 years, and they offered me an early retirement. Basically, I was making too much and I was too old, and they were moving people out. And so I took the package, and one of the benefits of retirement was very almost unique to Intel. I think there's only one other corporation does this. They have a program called the Encore Fellowship. And this is a program where you can work part-time for a nonprofit. Intel pays for it, bankrolls it. And, you know, I was 59 at the time, and I didn't know what to do with myself. You know, okay, I'm leaving Intel, now what? You know, and this sounded like a great opportunity to switch gears and go to the nonprofit. Well, what was I going to do? What nonprofit? Well, one of the early jobs I interviewed for was with Portland State Institute on Aging, and it was for an adjunct research assistant. And I didn't get the job, but in researching for the job interview, I had no idea that we're in a demographic revolution, that people are living older, and there's more of us. The 65 and older are going to be like 13 or 20% of the U.S. population in a few years. Anyway, it was just kind of blew my mind, and I thought, well, this is me. This is something I can get into, because I was searching for something to do, or what my passion was. So my passion became aging. So I got a job with Metropolitan Family Service, recruiting older adults to be in the AARP Experience Corps program. I went to school gerontology. I learned about ageism. And just at this time, it was like fate. I got a card in the mail Beaverton was looking for people for these committees. This is perfect. I'll do the committee on aging. And then after my Encore Fellowship ended, I ended up getting a job. I'm now with OHSU. I'm a research assistant working with older adults. and social isolation. I do video chats. It's basically to see if video chatting with older adults will help with their mental decline, slow it down. Fascinating. I love my job. I'm so lucky. Hope I didn't mean to go on so long. I was trying to cram everything into 2 minutes. But anyway, so I just feel very lucky to get to do what I, found something that I'm passionate about, that is relevant to me. So thanks for listening. Am I assigning or you assigning, Martha? Are you in charge?
Oh, well, if you want to assign somebody, go for it. I'm open.
Well, let's do with Bev. How about you, Bev?
Hi. Let's see, I've lived in Beaverton for a very long time. My career is in education, but I retired quite a few years ago. I'm quite sure I am the oldest member of the committee, which is fine with me. My purpose for joining the committee approximately like Lou 5 years ago is that since I was living here in Beaverton, I wanted to know what was available for myself and my social group, who is in the same age range, of course, mostly. And so I did apply, just like Lou said, got a card in the mail, and I applied to do two different committees and was chosen for this one. So I've learned a lot, and I hope to learn more over time during this pandemic. Especially, we have a lot to learn and things will definitely be changing. And I'm pleased to be a part of it and pleased to meet so many people who have so many wonderful skills to bring to this group to create a better environment in our great little city for us aging people.
Wonderful. Bev, pick somebody.
Let's see, Carley?
I was going to say pick someone you don't know, but that's okay.
Hi, everybody. Carley Adams here, and I'm the city staff liaison to the Committee on Aging. And this is, I guess, my third full year. I'm losing track a little bit of being the liaison. My full-time job, I'm the program manager for the Center for Mediation and Dialogue. So it's a little bit different than the Committee on Aging work, but I really enjoy getting to work with this group and helping everybody here to support their plans and goals for helping think about older adults in our community. So thank you for letting me be a part of it. And I handle, for those of you that are new, then my role is really to help connect this group to the city stuff. So all of the things that are city related, then I can kind of be that bridge, whether it's having guest speakers come to the meetings, either from the city or from the community, or being able to get the things posted on the city website, or help with the outreach or the marketing of events, that kind of stuff. That's all the staff liaison, and then helping with the interviews and appointing new members. So it's kind of that's the city arm of the community committee in a nutshell. But if you have questions about that, I'm happy to answer. But that gives you a little bit of a sense for my role. So
Somebody.
yeah, let's go with Jamie, one of our new members.
Hey everyone, thank you so much for having me today. I'm really excited to be a member of this committee, but also to contribute meaningfully to the BCOA. Little bit about me. I'm a former psychotherapist, and I started a small company that provides one-on-one in-home visits and now virtual visits with older adults, with the goal of helping my clients navigate periods of transition, loneliness, and loss. Lou, we should actually connect, because I'd be happy to share my observations with you of how helpful the virtual format is to helping individuals who are really lonely and isolated. Let's see, I moved to Oregon in 2019, and those first couple of years were really focused on setting up my business and getting my bearings. And in every community I've ever lived in, I volunteered in some capacity. And now that I'm feeling a little bit more settled and have the free time, I wanted to give back and contribute in a volunteer way. And so I originally heard about the BCOA from Sophie McDuffie. Hey, Sophie. And then Martha, who also shared with me what an enriching experience it has been for her as well. And so that convinced me it was something I wanted to be a part of. As I mentioned, I work with older adults professionally, and several of my clients live in Beaverton, they're residents. And so it's important to me to be aware of the Beaverton resources and programs that are available, but also to meaningfully contribute to the community-wide efforts so that I can help improve the town offerings, not just for my clients, but for all other residents as well. So again, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited and looking forward to getting to know each of you better.
And you get to choose somebody.
Can I ask a question? What was the name of your organization again? I know you're BCOA, but
Yeah, it's called Conversation and Company. And I don't want to promote myself, but I'm really proud of the website that I built, which took a long time because I'm not a technical person. So it's convocompany.com. Just check it out because I'm so tickled that I was able to even do that. But
Yeah.
anyway, I will pick someone.
Yes.
How about, let's do John.
Okay. I'm going to scoot up so you can see me a little bit easier. I got my monitor a little bit further away. I'm a retired occupational health, environmental health and safety manager and industrial hygienist. I just turned 75 in December, so I don't know if I'm up there or not in the group, but that's, 3/4 of a century. I've worked a lot in occupational safety and health since 1979 or so. Now 78 actually. And that's kind of my passion. I'm a member of the American Industrial Hygiene Association and the American Society of Safety Professionals. Just re-upped again. I came over to the Committee on Aging from the Beaverton Bicycle Advisory Committee. I was a member of the Bicycle Advisory Committee for about 5 years. And then I sat down on one of the city council meetings right next to the Committee on Aging. And we were right at that time looking at the demographics of the committees. And it turned out that there was only one person who was male on the Committee on Aging. And there was all males almost in the Bicycle Advisory Committee. So I volunteered to move over and come over here. And so here I am. It's a interesting transition. I still bicycle. I'm a scuba diver too, and enjoy scuba diving in the rivers here. And I just want to contribute, and I'm not in the checkout generation yet. So I think there's a lot that experienced people can continue to contribute to our society, and I want to continue to do that, which is why I'm here. I also have a master's degree and MSPH degree that I got from Tulane University via distance learning, believe it or not. I only went to Tulane for 10 days, which was a lab session, a very intensive lab session. So I'm trying to put some of that information that I gained in my education back into the society too.
Wonderful. Thank you. How about choosing somebody?
Oh gosh, who's up there yet? Let me look here.
How about somebody you don't know?
Oh, how about somebody I don't know? How about Kevin?
Okay. Well, Kevin, welcome.
Thanks. Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin. I'm the executive director of the Beaverton Downtown Association. I am here as a guest. I know Martha very well, know Allison a little bit. I think I recognize a few faces from coming here last year, but you all had some really great feedback for downtown last time I came. And so I'm really excited to see all of you here, especially seeing some new faces.
Wonderful. How about choosing somebody?
Cool. Is it Sunita?
Yes.
Yes, that's me. Thanks, Kevin. My name is Sunita Garg, and I have been with BCO since last year. And how I came about was my husband was volunteering in one of the committees, DAB, and his term was finishing and I wanted to join and do something. So I applied for 2 committees and I got selected for this one. And I'm very happy about that. And I've met really, really nice people in this group, and not just this group, other people in the community who are doing great work. And I'm also associated with the Indian Seniors group, which I also started last year. And the collaboration that's happening between this Beaverton group and that group is just amazing. I've been able to have people from here give talks over there. And we have created a website and we have a news bulletin start every month. And it's just amazing how much their information is out there and how much we can do together. So I am very happy to be here. Today is my first week. This week is my first week of being semi-retired. I'm a CPA and an accountant by profession. I've worked for over 20 years and now I am going part-time. So this is my first part-time week and I'm very happy about it. So hopefully I can do a lot more than what I'm doing right now. So thank you. And I get to choose someone.
You get to choose somebody.
How about you, Martha?
I've already gone. So
Oh, you've already gone. Okay,
but thank
let's
you.
see.
Choose somebody you don't know.
How about Alexis?
Alexis.
Hi, thanks, Sunita. Can everyone hear me okay? I wasn't sure if my mic was working.
You're good.
Okay. Hi, my name is Alexis Steele. I was born and raised in the area. Have been living kind of in the Portland metro my whole life. But just this summer, my partner and I bought our first house in South Beaverton next to Southridge High School. And I think like a lot of us, I was really frustrated, if not infuriated, with the current political spectrum and just everything that's happening. And now that we kind of have a home base in Beaverton, we're going to be staying there for a while. I really wanted to participate and contribute to my committee and kind of get a feel for everything that's going on in our area. And I looked into the different committees that Beaverton had, and there's a couple of different positions available. But I was very interested in the Committee of Aging. I think there's a lot of information that doesn't really go between the millennial generation and the older generations. And I think it's important to build bridges between those generations so we don't lose a lot of really excellent information. So I had an interview a couple months ago with Carley and with Martha. So nice to see you again. And I was so excited when I got my letter in December saying that I had been chosen for the position. So I'm very much looking forward to this. Very, very excited for it. And hopefully I can participate and help build some bridges between the various generations. Thank you so much for having me.
Wonderful. Alexis, you get to choose somebody.
Let's see. Who haven't we heard from?
Raise your hands if you have not spoken, shared.
I think, Suzanne?
Which one? There are 2 Suzannes.
Oh, Turley?
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for that. Actually, it is, mine is Susan. It's spelled with a Z, but it is Susan. So you can differentiate.
Good.
Sorry about that.
And I see there is a Suzanne also. Thank you so much. A little bit of background. I'm retired from the financial fraud unit of the Department of Justice. And I spent over 16 years as an elected official, so I know how important that boards and commissions are to cities. And my tenure was in cities. I was councilor and mayor of La Grande, and then also the the council president in King City before I moved to Beaverton. And I am now, I've been here, I think, 2 years. So I took a little bit of break and wanted to get back involved because I know how important that citizen input is from being involved on the other side. But I'm extremely interested in, I was so glad to hear, I believe it was Alexis, I was so glad to hear what you said, because my main interest is cross-generational or intergenerational, working together and to create a better environment for everyone. And so I was real thrilled about that. I think that's really important. I also believe that it's extremely important that the aging population and the needs are represented. And I think that I can help in doing that. And I'm also here definitely to learn and to listen, and certainly, hopefully, maybe be able to educate in a little bit of a way. I'm a national trainer for what's called Disrupt Aging, which is a new way looking at aging. And so looking forward to just working with the group. It looks like a wonderful, lots of ideas and lots of different, very diverse group, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you for appointing me.
Welcome, Susan. Would you pick someone too, someone you don't know, to share next?
Well, I don't know anyone, so let's see.
Raise your hand if you have not shared.
How about Sophie? Is it Sophie? Sophie.
Hi, everybody. I have been on this board for going on my second year. Super awesome committee. And being one of the younger members, I was very nervous. But I will say that it has been an amazing experience, and getting to know everybody and all of our strengths, and everybody brings so much to the table. Why BCOA, Martha asked. I think really a big reason was I have a passion for our aging population, and as a case manager, that was kind of my beginnings in this kind of senior career that I have. I needed a lot of resources, and being a part of the community was really important. I didn't know about BCOA when I was a case manager, and I wished that I knew about it. So now that I'm on the board, I love spreading the joy of what we do. And I'm really proud of the work that we do as well. And just kind of our focus on our webinars that we just put out, that Carley put up on the website, focusing on scandemics. That was really awesome, which was the scams during the pandemic. That name was brought to us by Sunita. So you'll see a lot of really creative people. You'll see a lot of knowledge-based people. We have just a great dynamic group. And so to get on the group, I didn't really know all that information until I interviewed. And I also live locally. So I live in Beaverton. I chose Beaverton over Portland for various reasons. I wanted to be in the suburbs, and I've been super happy with Beaverton. So I just want to say welcome to all the new people. There's a lot of really awesome fresh faces. I'm really excited. And to us oldies, I'm only going in my second year, but I consider myself a senior member. It's an awesome experience. So yeah.
Wonderful. Could you pick some, raise your hand if you have not been chosen.
Where are you a case manager?
So I was a case manager. I'm no longer a case manager, but I was a case manager with in-home care for about 4 years. And so I was going in the homes of seniors and really focusing on supporting their needs. And as well, you know, I saw a lot of isolation. So trying to support the caregivers with activities and kind of connecting them to community centers and things like that was a huge piece of my job.
Wonderful. Who would you like to choose?
I'll choose someone. Neil has his hand up relentlessly, so I'm going to choose.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'm Neil Jain. I'm one of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board liaisons, along with Basil. And I think just a bit of background. I'm from Westview. I'm a junior there, and yeah, I've lived in like Portland and like the Beaverton area my whole life, and I've enjoyed it here. And I guess like the reason why I wanted to join the BCOA is I'm just passionate about, you know, like volunteering and helping the community, and specifically towards like helping elderly members in my community. Some work I do is I run like this nonprofit where we do like free grocery delivery to seniors. So I'm, just passionate about helping the elderly in our community. And I thought this would be a great way to get further involved in helping people out. So yeah, that's just a bit about me, and I'll go ahead and pass it on to Basil then.
Wonderful.
Yeah, thank you, Neil. I'm Basil Pasha. I'm the current vice chair of the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board, and like Neil, liaison to the Beaverton Committee on Aging. A little bit about me: I'm 18. I'm a senior. I just turned 18 about 13 days ago. I used to go to Mountainside High School, which is a new high school on Shoals Ferry, and now I go to the School of Health and Science, which just got renamed to the Beaverton Academy of Science and Engineering. Really passionate about a lot of like social issues, and that's what I've been doing at the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board. And what I hope to accomplish here is just to bridge the gap between my generation and the older generation. And I was happy to see that many people here also had that same goal in mind. So this is also my second year on this board, and I can't wait to work with all of you.
Wonderful. Glad you're back. Basil, would you choose somebody, please?
Yeah. Could you guys raise your hands if you haven't gone yet?
And Misty and Suzanne and Allison.
And we're
All right. I'll have Allison go.
wonderful.
Hey there, everybody, and congratulations on recently turning 18, and congratulations to Sunita on your recent retirement. So when I joined the council, one of the things that happens when you start a new year is they give out council liaison assignments. And coming off of the Arts Commission board, I kind of had a sense for what that entailed, and the councilors all did it differently. Some would only show up to give a council update, others stayed for the whole meeting. And I knew that I wanted to make the most of it, regardless of what board or commission I got assigned to. But when the time came around to get selected, they said, well, which ones do you want? And the two that I asked for were the BCCI, to engage with the neighborhood associations, and the Committee on Aging. And I was thrilled that I got both of them, but I'm particularly thrilled that I got this one. And the reason why is because over the last, I'd say 7 years or so, I've had numerous opportunities to engage with AARP Oregon, with Bridge Meadows, with Engage, to stand up events talking about the economics of aging, about how outcomes are improved across all sorts of parameters, from health to financial to societal, when we do a better job of creating environments where people can live intergenerationally. And, I've had many mentors along the way, including Jay Bloom and Dorinda Schubert, who's the executive director and founder of Bridge Meadows. We have one out here in Beaverton, and it is amazing and an uplifting and inspiring place. But it's just a topic that's near and dear to my heart for many, many reasons. And then I'll just close by saying that, we have an affordability crisis in all sorts of ways in Beaverton. And one of them is that we simply just don't have enough housing stock for our aging population to allow them to age in place, to stay in their community, and be able to live in a way that is not impeded or with barriers in place to accessibility. And so I'm very interested in that topic in regards to council policymaking. And then I'm here, like Susan Turley said, I'm here to learn and I'm here to listen. So thank you so much for providing me an opportunity to get that little introduction, and I'm thrilled to be here.
Welcome. So Allison, you get to choose somebody.
Okay, let's go with, is it Misty? Misty Lone?
Yeah, Misty Lone. Hi, everybody. I'm Misty Lone. I'm so glad to be here. Professionally, I'm a nurse practitioner out in the community. I manage about 12 other clinicians, and we go into nursing homes and assisted livings and care for the elderly in place. We try our best to keep them out of the hospital, because we all know that that's so much better for them. I've been in long-term care since I was 16 years old. So Neil, Basil, and Alexis, yeah. I'm so grateful that you're here and really supportive of the cross-generational aspect of the elderly in the community. It's such a great thing. Also, being Native American, elderly is everything to us. The elderly are everything to us because that's where we learn everything. So that cross-generational aspect is so important to keep everyone wholly healthy. So I really love that these younger people are here in this group. And how I came to BCOA is I used to be on the Nursing Home Administrator Board for the state of Oregon, where I was on the Rules and Regulations Committee, where we created policy, as well as the Education Committee, where we revamped the Nursing Home Administrator Board licensure test. And my tenure ran out there. So like a few of you, I got the little flyer in the mail and I thought, oh, this is great. I didn't realize that there was a Beaverton Committee on Aging. So I applied and here I am today. So I look forward to working with all of you. This is a great group.
Welcome, Misty. We're glad to have you as well. You get to choose Paul or Suzanne.
Paul, please.
For a couple of different reasons. The part of it is having a little more time to be involved in the community and just to social network. Again, earlier I mentioned social supports, and social networks are an ingredient to successful aging, and was so preoccupied with my past position that I wasn't able to be involved as much. So now I'm very thankful for the opportunity. Also interesting side point, one of my fantasies was to take a leave of absence from the Sisters of Providence. They have a division down in South America, and my fantasy was to help. They have in South America and Chile, they have orphanages and old folks homes, and what I was hoping to do is to bring them together and for transgenerational or intergenerational, it makes sense. Also related to cultural, and a lot of other cultures, that there are multi-generational families. And anyway, that was kind of what my fantasy was, but never quite happened. Anyway, I'm very thankful to be here. Also, it's funny, I recognized John a little bit a few years ago. I went a couple of visits to the bicycling committee, and anyway, very thankful to be here. And let's see who's left.
And Paul, we're really glad to have you as well. Suzanne.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I'm sorry I was late. I am also a nurse. I have been a hospice nurse for many years and a nurse case manager. And what I do is privately, I have a little business, and what I do is grief and loss. And we also do some planning too, because there are a lot of people who are now involved in grief and loss and also haven't had a plan for much of anything at the end of their lives, or else they thought they did. And then when all of this happened and changed everything so much, they have found that their plan didn't work. So it's much busier than I had expected it to be. But the other thing I notice that's important to me is that many people know that they're experiencing loss, but they don't realize that they're experiencing this different kind of grief that they've never felt before. for the whole life that they have actually basically lost. And they have to redesign their lives and figure out what they're going to do at the end of all of this, or at least when it settles down or whatever happens. And it's obvious it is not going to be the same thing. So there are a lot of people with needs like that. And all I do is talk. I talk a lot. But I just really enjoy it, and they say it's really helpful. So I'm glad to be here. I've been here for quite a while. I believe I'm still on my second term, but I'm in the last year of it. So we'll see how it goes. I've loved it though.
Well, we're glad you're here, Suzanne. Thank you.
It's nice to see everybody, isn't it? Yeah. Lots of new people. Yeah.
Well, I want to applaud everybody for sharing so much in a very short period of time. Give yourselves a pat on the back for being here and participating in this incredible committee. Now, I know many of you probably have comments or questions you want to ask somebody. So I would like to suggest, if you want to connect with somebody, there are emails. So please set up coffee dates, set up email conversations with people. That is perfectly legitimate, unless somebody prefers not to have their email shared. So I don't want to ignore the fact that you may want to connect with someone or have questions. So now we're going to move into our presentation, and I have the pleasure of introducing to you Kevin Teeter. I have known Kevin for about a year or so and have worked with him on the Downtown Beaverton Association. He is awesome. He is creative, he's imaginative, he gets things done, he loves to work with people, and he's here to share with you about the wonderful things that are happening in our downtown Beaverton. So welcome, Kevin.
And Martha, before Kevin jumps in, I just wanted to note that I did see, I don't know, I think Misty and Basil might have been earlier from their hands raised. I don't know if that was earlier, and then Bev raised her hand, and I just wanted to see if you wanted to put.
Mine was just to say I needed to go, so I'll take it down.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
It's the same too.
Okay, I thought that might be, Bev had a quick question, I think.
Yes, Bev.
Before we dive in there.
I can't.
Do we have a complete list of all of the contact information for all of the members as of currently?
I just got that. That's a great question. I was going to mention that in a bit, but I do have, I'll send out to the board members. I take the comprehensive one and I make it something that's just your name and email to share with the group. And if you're not comfortable with that, let me know. But typically that's been the way that we do that, is that we share the email addresses with each other. Yeah, so I'll send that out. I haven't made it yet. I just have the long form one.
Is it possible to add a little bio in that? Because I really enjoyed the information on really new and old members. And I thought, oh gosh, I should contact her about this, or I should contact him about this. Just
great
general questions, not really related to the, so.
Just a little bit about the backgrounds. Well, it's time to really update the web page with our member bios anyways. And so for all the new members, if you looked at the web page, you noticed that you may have seen the bios of the members. So I think it's time to do that again. So be thinking about that. That'll be my request to all of you. You can either look and see what you put on there on the website. And if you want to change it, you can send it to something if you want to change. And if you're a new member, think about a picture and a little bio like you see the others, and then we'll list that on the BCOA page. And then I'm happy to do that, Bev, to pick those bios that we put there and add it to the contact if that helps for folks to remember kind of who's doing what. I think that's a great idea. Happy to do that.
Thank you.
Wonderful. So welcome, Kevin.
Thanks, Martha. Carly, do I have an opportunity to share my screen at all?
Yeah, let me see. Let me see if I can allow you to do that.
Okay.
I think, does it, it should be said, does it allow you to have a share screen button or not? It's saying no.
No, I see it. It was right in the middle of my screen. I didn't see it. So it's there.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. So Martha mentioned all of these fun things about me. Very creative, very optimistic. One thing that she could have said that she didn't was that I can also be overly idealistic. And it's a value that I love about myself. It's a value that I think I would love to see more people embrace as well. So before I really start diving into the Beaverton Downtown Association, Downtown Beaverton, I want to just pause for a quick second and give you a chance to think about what your ideal city or your ideal community looks like. Maybe there's some images that pop up with it, or some feelings or faces. Okay, I want you to hold on to that. I'm going to share my screen, share a short presentation about downtown, but I want to leave some time afterwards for some discussion about downtown in general with you all, about what that ideal community looks like in relation to what's here now and where we're going in the future. Okay, so I will not be able to see comments in the chat. So if you have something, I will get to it after I finish going through this. So we're just going to start off by saying, like, where is downtown? Who's here? We're going to walk through some of the things that have been happening recently, and then highlight what's coming next. What can you look forward to? And we'll close with the conversation all together. I'll stop sharing my screen so we can see each other. And Martha or Carley, if anybody has a comment that you see that needs to be addressed urgently, you can interrupt me. Okay, so where is downtown? Where is Old Town? We're looking at this section between 5th Street and Canyon Road, and in between Beaverton High School and Lombard Avenue. Now, when some people say downtown, they are also talking about the Beaverton Central area where City Hall is. It's connected, and that I also feel that it's downtown, but my organization, the Beaverton Downtown Association, focuses on the more historic area of downtown that you see here. The red circles where the farmers market is. It's also a pretty open parking lot when it's not the farmers market. So who's here? If you come here, then you've probably met a ton of the really great people that own businesses here, that work here. They are so passionate about what they do, which makes times like this really challenging, because their dreams and their hopes and their goals are all kind of up in the air and uncertain. And it's been a really hard year, probably for many of you as well. But they also have the good fortune of knowing their neighbors and really helping each other, pull each other along, and encourage each other. And that's part of that ideal city that comes to my mind, having that neighborhood feel where you know that you can count on the people around you. So you got the coffee people. Beaverton Music Services here in the middle is actually closing up their retail store. So they've got a sale going on Friday and Saturday this week. So Beaverton Music Services is a great spot to go visit, especially this weekend. Okay, we'll jump forward. On our website, we have a map of downtown businesses that you can poke around on. You can click these icons, you can see what they are, but there are 200 to 250 businesses in downtown. They're a mixture of restaurants, medical providers, shops, services, even some housing and some fitness studios. So there's a really diverse array of people here. It's a really incredible community. A lot of the businesses are owned by women, people of color, immigrants and refugees. And it's just such a great place to see these creative people expressing their dreams for their lives and for their community as they grow and develop with us. So then what is the Beaverton Downtown Association? That is, we are a local nonprofit. I'm the only staff member. We have a board of between 9 to 15 people, and we have about 30 to 40 volunteers who are involved on anything from event planning to landscaping like you see here, or public art projects. Anything that can really help support downtown, we want to be involved with that, and we want to help the businesses and the property owners here really survive and thrive. So you'll see on the left that our vision is for a vibrant downtown community. So I've only been here about 2.5 years, but some of you might remember downtown before that, where it's a little sleepier, a little less active, but there's definitely been a lot of growth over the years, a lot of new businesses coming in, and a lot of really exciting activity and creativity being expressed. So we'll talk more about what's coming next in a few minutes, but it's part of this evolution of downtown where there's this enhanced focus on this community in particular, and what it can be. So I love this picture because this is just this weekend, actually. We've got a new mural going up on the side of the NAC1 building, and this is the artist who's painting it. And his name is Hampton. He mostly speaks Spanish, and he's just such a happy guy. So excited to be adding art into downtown. And it's one of these parts of our organization that I truly love, because while we do focus on business support, and while we do plan events and days when you can have events, we also like to do things that make the community more beautiful. Like, it shouldn't just be shops and restaurants. It shouldn't just be events that are there for one weekend of the year, but it should also be an experience that people are able to feel and see and touch as they come there, so that it's active and it's engaging and it makes people feel alive. So what's been happening over the past year? We've seen a lot of new outdoor seating coming in, seen a lot of new public art like Hampton's here. We've had new businesses opening and closing. I'll show you that in a minute. Every week we've had downtown businesses getting together on weekly video calls to talk together and see how they can support each other. That was especially prominent near the beginning of the pandemic when everybody was just trying to figure out what was going on. And then down here at the bottom, there are a few projects that you might hear about in the future. They are city-driven projects that'll affect the future of downtown, specifically with that equity strategy, where the city's looking at how can they make sure downtown's development is equitable and inclusive and supportive of a whole bunch of different people. So this is just a quick list of businesses that have opened and closed over the past year. You'll see, interestingly, that it's an even balance. Some of these people have closed because of the natural life of a business or retirement, or they're moving. Some were casualties of pandemic stresses. So it's been challenging and encouraging all at the same time, and that's okay. And that's okay. We'll see more businesses coming in, and I'll share some of those in a minute, but the good news is that downtown Beaverton is not a place that's just stagnant, but it's a continual change and evolution as people continually see that opportunity for investment and they want to be a part of that community. So this year, our organization won 3 awards that we were super excited about via the Oregon Main Street program. I think the Volunteer of the Year is really exciting. Sophia actually served on the Mayor's Youth Advisory Board and on our board of directors. So she was absolutely incredible. The middle picture you'll see is the Outdoor Dining Commons, which, if you haven't been yet, it's a closed section of the street on First Street with some tables and tents. It's now got heaters and lighting. I think it's a really great place just to go do some work, but you can also get some food or take food and see people in a safe environment. And then we got some new murals and new art. So we got a couple more murals that are coming. This one here is actually done by a lot of high school students. So it's just been really exciting to see a lot of these projects bubbling up on their own too. Just this energy about the community that people want to spend their time here and want to invest in it because they know that this is their home too, and that's what it should be. Then what's coming next? So I've got a picture of the Marianne Apartments, which is affordable housing that's coming in at First and Main Street. But there's a whole lot of other housing units that are coming. The city fountain at the park is being updated and enhanced with new lighting and a bunch of new fun features. Here in the middle, we were working before the pandemic on improving walkability in downtown. It was put on hold, but we are restarting it now. And it's really exciting because I know that when I came to speak with you all last time, we talked about how accessibility and mobility of downtown is a challenge. And we really want to help improve that, partnering with the city to be able to do it. And then business openings. So we got a couple breweries, a few breweries that are coming, another coffee place, a pizza place, and an Indian restaurant are just a few of the places that are opening up soon. But that's really exciting too. There's a desire to be here, and I want the Beaverton community to be able to know that this is a place for them as well. So I'm going to exit out of this and stop sharing my screen. Before we chat together, I just want to stress that historically, downtowns have been gathering places for communities. They have been the shared homes and shared backyards of cities, like speaking historically. And that's what we have an opportunity to do here as well. So like the Council on Aging, Committee on Aging, and all of these different stakeholders of downtown, like your voices matter because you should feel welcome in downtown if you don't already. And if you do, that's great. But we want people to know that this is a safe place for them. One reason why this is so important to me is that the news on the national level, on the state level, like on the worldwide level is just so exhausting sometimes. But we have an opportunity to make a difference. And that's what you all are doing here. That's what the neighbors are doing in downtown. By investing in these small scale changes that say, we might not be able to change what's happening at these huge levels, but we can start here. We can make it a little bit more beautiful, a little bit more attractive, a little bit more friendly and inclusive, just a whole bunch of little steps at a time. So I'm going to stop talking and I want to turn it over and hear from some of you all, your ideal community, your ideal downtown, or this downtown. What does it look like? What are some of the things that you love about what's here or that you want to see that maybe there's not here? I think this is just a good opportunity for a group discussion. So anybody want to share anything first? Yeah, Louis?
Yeah, Kevin, first of all, I just so appreciate your idealism. It was just like a shot in the arm. And then your invitation to us to share in that. I just appreciate that so much. You know, so you immediately got my buy-in to whatever you're doing. You know, you're just a great start. So I'll cut to the chase. The first thing I just popped in my head, you said I could, so this is my ideal, right? It doesn't have to be practical, but, and this is more community, not just downtown, but I guess I would love to see bus stops that are sheltered with lights and benches. So people who are taking the bus could not be standing in the miserable cold rain or the 100-degree heat. You know, I mean, to me, that just has been a vision of mine for some time. And I never feel like I have a platform to talk about it. So that's all I have for you, Kevin. I don't know. Maybe we could turn these into, you know, murals too with artwork. I mean, I think we could make this a cool thing. Anyway, that's my ideal, probably impractical, but thanks for listening.
No, that's great. And I think one of the great things about this committee is that this is a forum for these types of discussions. Like you all have that ability here. John.
Yes, I have three things to talk about. First of all, This morning, I went up to OHSU with my wife. My wife is a hospital pharmacist at OHSU. And so she's in the first group for the Corona-19 immunization. And she got her second shot today. So that is starting to happen. And as it goes out, I think the elderly group is going to be in one of the first groups to get the vaccination. And I heartily endorse vaccinating as many people as possible, as soon as possible. But I also want to make perfectly clear that until that happens, we have to take these measures. We have to distance, we have to wash hands, we have to wear masks, we have to stay at home as much as possible rather than even going down to your downtown. That will disappear probably within 5 months. And then we can go down and really, really enjoy the downtown and get to know it a lot better. So that's coming up. But at the same time, I really want everybody to take the precautions because we're in a very dangerous phase right now where people tend to get more lax. And that happened last week at the US Congress when they went into isolation and a number of congressmen refused to wear masks. And apparently there are 3 now new cases in the congressmen of COVID-19. So we are still in an effective phase of this and we need to take precautions until everybody is vaccinated. So that's a very important part. I love Beaverton. You asked me about where I think of this ideal place, and it's Beaverton, believe it or not. We have parks, we have walking spaces. My wife and I go on 6-mile walks whenever the weather is nice. We'll probably go out tomorrow. We didn't today, but we did yesterday. So, you know, the Beaverton is just a wonderful place. It has the Tualatin Hills Parks and Recreation facilities, which are a huge benefit. I'm still waiting for the swim pools to open up. Now, in the next 10 to 20 years, and I want to bounce this off of you. My wife is from Hong Kong and we make regular visits to Hong Kong. We are going to be seeing a lot of population coming into the Willamette Valley and into Beaverton from places like California and other places where things are getting untenable. And I'd like to see the downtown area start planning for and considering pedestrian overbridges for TV Highway and other places so people can get across without endangering themselves.
Yeah, thank you, John. Sophie?
Yeah, I think what's really important to me in Beaverton, and I think you guys hit it on the head really well, is the eclectic different types of food. I think we're kind of like a baby Portland in a sense. And I know Portland's known for the amazing food that they have. And I know my relatives in Canada, they talk about like, oh my gosh, you're so lucky to have so many different types of food. And so I think you guys are hitting it on the head with the food carts. There's so many different types of food, which is really inspiring. And so I think that goes to my second point, that community and just being a part of feeling like you're a part of a group of people. It has been really difficult during COVID, but I think that's really, I feel like that's your vision, is to kind of cultivate that however you can safely. And that's kind of my vision for a successful community.
Yeah, yeah. I love the point about feeling more connected. And it's just it's so hard when everything's virtual and distance, but I love that goal. Anybody else have comments or questions that they want to share or ask? Allison?
Yeah, when you said, what do you envision, as your ideal place to live? It's walking down the street and seeing people and feeling welcomed by people that you don't, and people acknowledging each other as they pass each other on the street. And frequenting your small businesses so often that you know the purveyors and they know you, and they get to watch your kids grow up, or it's like as you spend time in the neighborhood, it just becomes an extension of your family and your close personal friends. And the downtown core of Beaverton is really starting to feel like that. It kind of started with the farmers market and the central library, but it's grown out, and it's really exciting to see the role that BDA has played in both standing up opportunities for that, but also calling attention to it and just creating so much energy there that's attracting others to get it inspired and move on in. And then as far as the accessibility, that's the biggest hamstring in all of this, is we've got these two major roads that cut through a major area that's going through so much revitalization. And I know the city is working really hard at trying to figure out ways that we can mitigate that experience so that people don't feel so tied to their cars or tied to one spot where they just have to find a place to park and then are limited by where they're able to walk in relation to where that car is parked. And the last thing I'll say is on that note about the sheltered bus stops, that has come up on several occasions in other conversations, that sure, we've got the stops there, but we have really crazy weather up here, and it doesn't always feel safe or comfortable to stand outside waiting for that really awesome public service. And it's definitely a sticky widget because, it's a whole other governmental agency that's in charge of it, but we definitely do have a voice in that. So I would love to receive any input any of you have that will help me speak more articulately to the need for that too. So, but to draw it back to BDA, thank you so much for the work you're doing down there. And I still, every time I see those neon signs lit up at night, even though we can't really enjoy the spaces as much as we want to right now, just seeing them lit up makes me smile. So, and you were a big reason why that happened.
Thanks. Paul mentioned in the chat a neighborhood where people know each other and where they bike. I'm a huge biker as well, so that speaks to me. And then Allison, to your point, the connectivity of the Beaverton Central area where the food carts are to the Old Town areas. I mean, it's tough, like John said, with people having a hard time crossing those streets. Those are very real challenges. Beverly, I think I saw your hand.
Yes, I have a question looking to the future. And I have a concern that because of the pandemic, we have developed different style of life, or how we obtain as a consumer our needs, products and that. And that the return to what we did know is either going to be very slow, or perhaps we will have found different things to meet our needs. Are the downtown businesses preparing for that? That there's probably not going to be a deluge of people coming into the businesses right off. I think we are going to need to build it back up.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. They are preparing for that. I think at the start of the pandemic, there was a hope that it would be very short-lived and people would come rushing back. That's not reality. And then it's like, how does a business adapt when so much more is virtual and people are shopping online more and more? And we've seen our downtown businesses actually embracing that themselves and doing sales off of social media, like Instagram and Facebook sales, updating their websites and their own delivery processes, which has been great. It's been challenging for some of them, but it's been great. But then also, I think there will be a renewed focus on like experiential retail. So like making it more about getting to know the business owners and making it more about like the plant store doing a create your own terrarium, like these interactive pieces of these brick and mortar stores that the online experience can't give you. We're seeing people being very creative right now. So we might see some other things like that or that we haven't seen before popping up. But I think the point that people want to have a place to connect and to feel at home, I think that will still be a huge advantage for in-person retail and shopping after everything's better and safe for people to return.
And Kevin, I just want to point out, there's been a few folks that have the little tiny hands up that are not as easy to see. So Alexis has had her and Sunita, and I saw one more, I thought, that had their hands up for quite a while.
Thank
They're
you.
kind of harder to notice.
Okay, Sunita?
So, okay. So first of all, thank you for your presentation. It was really great. When I think about an ideal downtown, I've lived in Toronto. It's, you know, like where we have a great library. We have a lot of places where if we had like a bus service or something, we could just park our car somewhere and not have to drive there. Just take the bus and it would take you to the main places or where we could walk. And I know that there is a Beaverton Loop project going on, which is great, which is starting up. And something like that would be really wonderful, having like sheltered bus stops, more advertisement about the businesses that are going on so that people will know about it. It just feels that people are cut off, especially during COVID. You know, you are staying at home all the time. But hopefully when everything opens up, we can have a place where in downtown, when it's more lively and vibrant, like you said in your presentation, if we can have that where people can go from one place to another easily. We have a wonderful library. I mean, Beaverton City Library is so good, where families can go there and there is a park there. It's amazing. And if we can just make it all connected and easy to go from one place to another, that would be great.
Yeah, totally. I think we're running low on time, but I do see Suzanne's hand, so we'll go to Suzanne and see.
Just for a second, our problem with going downtown, number one, we're staying at home. We have to be really careful. My husband is disabled. He's a paraplegic, so no walk, no stand. And, you know, it was a fact that trying to get into the doors of some of the stores was impossible. And, you know, the sidewalks weren't that great. And the transitions from the street to the sidewalk, all that's hard. So I was just hoping that as you go along, these things could be changed. I mean, they're not big projects if they're not all taken on at once and et cetera, et cetera. But I mean, they're sure important for somebody like my husband. It's really hard. You can look at the wheelchair people down there and see how hard it is for them to get back and forth.
Yep, totally.
I was just thinking something selfishly.
I don't think that's
That's
selfish
important
at
to
all.
think about, because as an able-bodied person, when I think of myself going to like the food cart area, it's a challenge for me to get across the street with all the traffic and things going on. I can't imagine having a wheelchair involved. The sidewalks, the roadways, they're pretty rough there. And I really love the idea of like a bus or something that connects all the areas together, because people that have wheelchairs and things, it's really hard for me to find parking on my own, let alone like if I had a wheelchair. I can't even imagine trying to get to those areas where I could be with other people and not having the access to do so. So
Yeah, totally. Carly or Martha, how much time do we have?
Well, for Alexis she said her hand.
Okay, Alexis, there you are.
Sorry, just really quick. Is there a place where I can find more information on the downtown equity strategy? Is there a website or something?
Yes, I believe that there's a page on the city's website. Carly, do you know where that is yet?
I don't know. I'm not sure where that lives, but I can look into it.
Okay, so Rachel Teamy is heading it up, so she would know.
I can also do some broad stroke searching. I think that's a very important aspect of revitalizing any metropolitan area. Anytime you invest into a community and you make these nice places where people want to be, more people come. And so the more people come to an area, the higher the property prices go up. And I think especially with our focus on the aging populations of Beaverton, making sure that housing is going to be accessible to them, making sure that they're not going to be bought out of their area because it's been made so nice. So yeah, I'd love to hear more about the equity strategy. Thank you for that.
Yep. Allison just put it in the chat for you, a link.
Oh, perfect. Thank you.
Amazing, all the great stuff that's on the city website. I just found out recently that there's over 1,000 pages, website pages on the website that have to be managed and updated, and they do a pretty remarkable job given the size of things. But yep, so that's there. There's all sorts of great stuff that if you keyword search it, it should pop up for you.
Thank you. Well, Kevin, thank you so much for sharing all the wonderful things that are going in downtown. I go to downtown Beaverton at least twice a week to get my coffee, sit down, just to be downtown. And once a week we go to Whole Bowl and have lunch. So, and we garb up, wear our masks, but to support downtown. And we found some wonderful food. It's so cool. So thank you so much for all you do.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Glad you could come. Wow, what great ideas. Do you want me to, I did take notes. Do you want me to send you? I won't lose them this time. I took
I would love that.
meeting and I lost the minutes.
Yeah,
So
I would
thank
love
you,
that.
Kevin. Thank you, thank you. So now is our time to hear from Allison for a city council update. So the floor is yours.
My very first one. I'm so excited. I made some notes here. So yeah, I just to let you know, I've had people ask me, should I call you Councilor Tivnon or what? And if you want to, you can. You can also just call me Allison. I'm really excited to give these updates. I know we want to keep it to 10 minutes and there's so much going on that I'm trying to condense the list down to the stuff that's like really happening in the moment, stuff that's going to be happening at the council meetings or has just happened. If there's any other topics that you're ever interested in, you are more than welcome to reach out to me via email or text. I put my contact info into the chat line. So, but the stuff that comes to mind, I think is really valuable to pass along to all of you right now. Is that obviously we're going through a major transition right now. Not only did we elect a new mayor and have 2 new councilors joining, we have another council seat that's opening up. We passed a charter amendment that is changing the form of government from a strong mayor form to a city manager council form. And with all of that comes a lot of change and a lot of transition and a whole lot of work. And so just to break it down a little where we are with things, we posted a job announcement for an interim city manager position back in, I think it must have been in September now or around fall. And we got a lot of responses from folks all over the country because this truly is a once in a lifetime opportunity for, you know, people that have been in this role at city management. We had folks that hadn't really had experience as city managers, but loved the idea of taking on this task of how do you handle that kind of change management to shift an entire city's staff to a whole new way of doing things. We made a selection. His name is Kurt Wilson. He was the city manager at the city of Stockton down in California. And I don't know if you remember, but the city of Stockton went into bankruptcy in the Great Recession, and he was at the helm helping them navigate their way out of that. And just a very great guy and really diving in feet first, and is already getting to work with all of the different department heads to try and create as much transparency and clarity around the changes that will happen as a result of this charter change. He at our last city council meeting last Tuesday requested that we ratify a declaration of state of emergency related to COVID that will allow us to continue to access resources and relief for the city. And that was essentially his first act in a city council meeting. Was grateful for him to stand up and do that and get that ball rolling on that, and keep us in front of that so that we don't ever stop taking for granted that we are not out of the situation yet. Also related to the transition is the fact that former Councilor Beatty is now Mayor Beatty. Her seat is vacant. And that poses a really interesting question for us. There will be an election for someone to run for it. I believe it was actually in our purview to appoint someone, but we had no interest in doing that for the long term, to just fill the seat until it naturally would come up for election. But we are still grappling with, do we appoint someone until someone's elected? And we are going to continue to discuss that, but I believe we also want to solicit public feedback from people as well. So that is still ongoing. We're not in a rush this week to make a decision on it. We want to really approach that carefully and think about the fact that we have an even number of votes right now. How long can we operate in that kind of environment? How well can we all get along and find consensus? And are we going to come up on any things where we actually need a tiebreaker? But we have a retreat coming up this weekend, and it's actually 3 days long, which I think is a precedent for the city of Beaverton. And the reason why we decided to extend it out is, one, this is not any old regular time. We're in extraordinary times right now. So it's not just about goal setting and priority setting. It's also about COVID and relief for people, and our response to just all of it in general, getting our heads wrapped around that. Also the transition in government, and a lot of questions about how the city manager role will interact with the council and vice versa. But I think most importantly, and we have almost an entire day dedicated to it, is communication. Communication amongst the councilors, understanding our personality traits, our communication styles, and starting to build the groundwork for respect for each other and developing trust in each other, so that we can feel free to bring our diverse sets of opinions into the same room, but also know that each one of us loves our community, and kind of keep in mind the idea of the mountain, and we're all trying to reach the summit. And we might not be standing right shoulder to shoulder on the same side of the mountain, but we're all trying to get to the same place, and always keeping that front and center, and not let politics worm its way into the process. So I'm really excited about that. And I love that this council was really intentional about wanting to make that its first goal straight out of the gate. So I think that's the stuff that's really top of mind right now. We have a council meeting tonight. If you're interested in tuning in, it's at 6:30. And the videos are posted on the city website for every council meeting that's happened in the past. And it's really awesome. You can open up the agenda that's on the city website. And if you see a particular thing that you're really interested in hearing what the council ended up talking about in relation to it, you can actually click on it and it will take you to that point in the video of the city council meeting, which is super awesome. So if you don't have time to attend the city council meetings, but you really want to know what happened at a particular point, the new system is making it super easy for you to access and view it. So again, it's the stuff that's really top of mind. Obviously, we have a lot going on in other areas. We've got a lot of development stuff happening in the city. We have traffic concerns. We have public safety conversations, social justice conversations, climate action conversations. And all of these things are topics that are going to be addressed throughout the year, but not in this particular week. It hasn't made its way onto the agenda. But again, if you ever have questions about any of those topics or anything else that is important to you, please don't hesitate to reach out to me.
Thank you so much, Allison.
Yeah.
Yes,
Thank
I
you.
have a question. You mentioned the retreat that the council is having this weekend. Is that open to the public?
No, I don't believe so. It's going to be, I don't believe that it meets public meeting law. There's some I'll get some information on that because I'm not really clear on that. I'd wondered that myself.
Past it has been.
It has been, oh, maybe it is. I don't know. I'll bring that up and ask about that. It is going to be in person, and all of us are getting COVID tested. Most of us tomorrow, one person on Thursday, and then quarantining in advance of it. So we will be able to actually be in the same room, which I think it's beneficial for conversations like this. But let me look into that, and I'll email the group and let you know.
Thank you.
Thank you. Wow, lots going on in this great city of ours. So Carley, you're up there to give us an update on what's happening from the city.
Well, actually, I think that we overlapped today, and that's just fine because Councilor Tiva and Allison gave kind of all of the things that were on my little list as well. So she's already mentioned all of the updates. They were duplicates, and I'll put that in the minutes there so you can read that in detail. But it was all of the same things about the changes with the city government and the new councilors and the mayor and whatnot. So I don't have any more of those official ones. The one thing I wanted to mention as for the board was we had a question. I threw this out there about normally historically we've done our BCOA retreat at the end of January. But my hope is that I wanted to run by all of you, postponing our goal setting retreat a little bit this year, either till February. I mean, my sense is like that, since we're meeting virtually, it's a little different. It might take us a little bit more time to kind of get into the groove of getting to know each other and trying to think about those things. So bye for those folks that are heading out. Thank you so much for coming. Anyways, so I wanted to see if that was okay with the group, if we look for a date either at the end of February or even maybe March. Next month at the February meeting is when we have to do the elections for the board, and we will need a recorder, so that spot will be open. So that will be part of our February meeting. And anyways, so I just wanted to run that by the group and see what you think, see if you're okay with that. The new members, this is the goal setting retreat is really where it's not a normal meeting, it's an additional meeting where we really kind of look at where's the energy of the group, what are kind of what have we done in the past that's been successful. We can revisit a little bit about kind of things that reflect on what we've done and where we're going in terms of the projects or priorities that you want to work on for the current year. And we typically tend to like think about this whatever the coming year is. So that's kind of been, and some things are ongoing, right? So some things just keep on going. But things dramatically shifted from the last time that we did this, obviously. So we didn't do the in-person events. So that's kind of what the goal setting retreat would be. So that was my question to you all. I wanted to kind of hear from you what your thoughts are. Lou, you look like you're raising your hand.
Yeah, so I agree. I think we should do no sooner than March, and maybe even later. I read Bev's email and I kind of concur with her that March even seems too soon, but certainly no sooner than March. I agree.
You're okay with that? Okay.
Yeah.
Sunita?
So maybe I'm not getting the point. What is the point of doing it later? It will still be virtual, right? The meeting would still be virtual because you're losing all those months that you could do something in those months, like maybe put a virtual presentation or something like that for the group. The more we postpone, the less time you have to do anything, unless I've missed the point.
I think that, the point is that I guess for this year, it seemed like, I don't know, it seemed challenging to think about doing it at the beginning of January. Also didn't get it on the calendar in time to do it like next week. That just seems not realistic. But so at least in February, I guess that's why I kind of wanted to raise it with all of you to see how you felt about that. And if there was, if you wanted to structure it differently. I will say that not all boards and commissions do a retreat like this. This is something that I wanted to do with the group because, and some do kind of a goal setting, but they don't always necessarily do it every year. Like each board is a little bit different. So it doesn't have to stay this way where we do an annual goal setting retreat. Some just have their goals and priorities that continue to roll on until they do it. So
Actually,
that's
I do remember our last year's one, and it was really good because it helps the new members to understand what the mission of the group is. So, I mean, February would be fine. I don't think we should postpone it more than that, because the more you postpone it, the more time you will lose to start a project where everybody is together and trying to think about what to do. Because we do have a lot of new members in this time. And next week is too soon for sure. We don't even have to think about that. But maybe Feb, I think we should think about February. That's my personal opinion, and whatever everybody else thinks. Yeah.
So Sophie and Suzanne and Jamie and Lou.
I'll be quick. I kind of agree with Sunita. I think the sooner we get that meeting happening, I think also, this is just my thought, I'm going to throw it out there. I feel like last year, a lot of our ideas and visions and things like that had to go out the window, and we had to just focus on, what was right in front of us. And so I'm maybe posing the idea that we just review the notes from last year's. And because we have so many new people, maybe do more of an integrated getting to know people. Instead of coming up with new ideas and new visions and new things. I just think those two points would really get our group to propel forward, and sooner. So like February is my vote.
Suzanne?
Yeah, March is mine. I think one of the reasons is because there are so many new people, and we don't really know each other very well. And we don't know what the skills are of the people that are, well, they don't know us and we don't know them. I don't think it's so important to be in that big hurry to have to get a plan. But I think March, now you're feeling kind of settled, or a little bit more settled. And well, at least, I would be. And I just think March is I wouldn't want to put it off any longer than that, because then of course you're running into the idea that, everybody's doing stuff and now your stuff isn't new, et cetera, et cetera. But I'd vote for March. So what are we, 2 and 2?
Jamie and Susan?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit difficult for me to weigh in until I really understand what we're talking about when we use the term retreat, right? I've attended retreats that are intensive group dynamic meetings where we, really break down and get to know each other in a vulnerable way. Are we referring to something like that, or is this like a 2-hour Zoom call?
It's been historically it was a 4-hour in-person with food. So like that half day to like really kind of dive into ideas with a break there in between. But it'll probably, because it's Zoom, to John's question, the plan was to do this via Zoom. We'll have to restructure it a bit. And no, it's been more focused on the goals, with like this first meeting of the year, the chance to kind of introduce ourselves, not heavy on the get to know each other, but some of that incorporated into it, but mostly focused on like what's really our priority to like look into. So a little bit more focus on that.
That's helpful. If that's the case, my preference would be to meet sooner rather than later, just to get that teed off and going. And by meet, I mean virtually. I would feel much more comfortable. Yeah, not in our living room, my living room together with all of you. Yes, virtually.
I would agree with what pretty much what Jamie said. She was bringing up a lot of the same things that I would as a newer person. But I'd also like to go back on to what Sophie said. If in fact, as a newer person, and a lot of things it sounds like had to be rearranged, which of course makes sense at the beginning, if the purpose was really to get those of us that are new or even continuing a little more versed in what the goals have been and how they've been approached and what the changes have had to be, I would certainly say that earlier rather than later also. But I would also, I guess, along with that, say I certainly would want to get it on my calendar before too long because my calendar is filling up already. But it's so if that's the goal is maybe just to get to know each other a little bit better, become better versed on what the goals have been and perhaps how those could be redone or revisited, maybe all of that, and getting a little more information. I think that would be very, as a newer member, that would be very helpful to me, and perhaps make future meetings go a little smoother because there wouldn't be as many questions that come up from those of us that maybe are not adversed, and we wouldn't need as much history if we actually were able to have some time to just devote to that. So.
Well, and I'm happy, oh, sorry, Susan. I'm happy to send out the stuff from last year to everybody as a reminder. Hey, everybody check this information over. Martha, I apologize. I've run over my time and I'm making us run late. I know you've done such a great job at like keeping us on track, and here I am like running over, but thank you all.
We need to figure this out.
So anyways, I'm happy to send out the information ahead of time, and it sounds like there's some, just in listening to you all, wanting to kind of, move this forward and hear those ideas, still get to know each other, and still also not take too long on this. So I'm wondering how you all feel if we are thinking about, if it was towards the end, if it was after our February meeting, because our February meeting's at the beginning of February, and then we had the retreat. So we have one more meeting, but then would that feel like that sort of soon, it's still soon enough that it can get things moving, but not, but it would be at the end. And then in the meantime, we could still I could send out the historical information so that you can read that and then have one meeting.
Yeah, our meeting in February is on the 9th. That helps.
Okay. I'm only seeing one thumbs up. Is there any concerns around doing that? And Lou, I know a couple folks are thinking about March being a little bit more ideal, but does the end of February, work? Or
yeah, I'm good.
Lou's got a go ahead.
The end of February. Excuse me. Sorry.
That's okay. I guess I'm confused at what the actual objective is and the scope and how long this meeting is going to be and what we're going to hope to accomplish in the current Zoom and COVID, landscape that we're in. I mean, you said it earlier, we've actually, the first 3 years I was on this committee, we didn't even have one of these, and we put on events and we managed to, have activities, and I think we're quite successful. I think the retreat enhanced that. I think it improved it. But if it's just, we could just devote, I guess what I was thinking is that let's wait a couple of months and see if we can start meeting in person maybe later this year, or what can we do, what I was thinking is that in the meantime, we can keep planning like we did last year with these webinars and these other events. And also my other thought was, I really don't want to sit in a 4-hour Zoom meeting. It's too long. It's not the same as being in person. Why don't we just devote one or either the next meeting, the regular meeting we're already meeting, and just devote the entire meeting to goal setting and some ideas what we can do in the COVID landscape. That's my 2 cents.
I like that idea, Lou. I go with that. What do you think, Carley?
That's fine. The other option is to have a slightly longer meeting next time. And so then there's nothing on the agenda. We could just do it at our February meeting where we have more time for that planning. We still have to, if it's a regular meeting, you still have to, just pass the minutes and things like a few orders of business, but there's nothing that says you can't spend the majority of the time discussing where are we now and where are we going? What are some of these things, like John's put up several points that there's things to discuss about kind of how do we stay relevant within the COVID environment. So there's plenty of things for you all to talk about. So I don't have any objections about that process. I just wanted to sort of weigh that out there with you all to see what your thoughts are.
And
That
we do
sounds
have,
fine to me.
yeah, and we do have the availability to break into smaller groups, right? Out of our big Zoom meeting to do small group discussions
Yep.
and then come back together. Go Lou, I like that idea.
I see Sophie
Right.
and John have questions.
fine.
Yeah.
Somebody share, please.
Okay,
this is-
so
Sophie?
just a quick thought. If we do our retreat during our normal meeting, I just want to know what the rules are regarding recording. Because what I liked about the retreat was that it was more of a closed meeting where we could have thoughts and be very just kind of throw things out there and not feel the pressure of other people. You know, so maybe Carly, you can speak to that, what that looks like.
That's a new thing that has not occurred to me, and a good point, Sophie. I didn't. Yeah, that is true. That would be a difference between a regular meeting versus our retreats were open to the public, but because of the nature of the conversation, we didn't have anybody there ever come, but it was open, and it would still be open even if it's on Zoom, but it's not as likely that folks would. It just doesn't generally. It changes a little bit. And
Yep.
it would be recorded if it was a regular meeting. Yeah, you're right. Go ahead,
Can I talk
John.
a little bit here?
Yeah.
We're entering a very critical phase in the vaccination program where we need to get as many people as possible, especially the elderly, vaccinated. And there's a lot of concern being expressed about vaccinations. And I think we could really help the community out by sponsoring some seminars on COVID-19 vaccinations and why it's so important and what they do, and get as many people as possible, as quickly as possible, vaccinated. This is kind of a life and death situation right now, and we're in a very dangerous period of this pandemic. And we can be a part of the solution if we choose to do so.
Thanks, John. And I apologize. We really do normally, we normally do end right on time. Today we have run late. I want to be mindful of everybody's time and respectful of that. So I'm just thinking that maybe Martha and I will talk about process-wise to try to take into everybody's points into consideration, because I do hear, you know, all the different points that you're making around the process. So let Martha and I will, and Sophie will think about strategy. Sophie's the vice chair and Martha's the chair, for those of you that may not know. So we'll talk about process, try to kind of take into account what you've all said and kind of get back to everybody via email, so that we don't have to make you all stay on the meeting even longer.
Sounds like a plan. So I would like a motion to close our meeting.
I make a motion to close.
Thank you. And a second.
I second it.
And it looks like, thank you. Well,
Thanks.
happy Tuesday to you all. Have a wonderful, wonderful week, and we'll be in touch. And Carly and Sophie and I will get together and figure this out with all your great
Thank you.
ideas. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Have a
Bye-bye.
nice week. Yeah.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Hey.